While the very few at the top continue to build their wealth and their power, the majority of us continue to struggle.
When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Justice Democrats defeated Joe Crowley in a Democratic primary last year, it sent a real signal to the Democratic Party establishment and the media establishment that yes, a Democrat with less money can defeat an established Democrat with big money backers, as long as that candidate with less money also has real grassroots donors and volunteers. And now the Justice Democrats are looking to do that again, this time so far with two announced Democratic primary challengers, one in New York and one in Texas. So first, I want to introduce you to Jamaal Bowman. So he is running in the Democratic primary for New York's 16th district against longtime Democrat Eliot Engel. Here's his campaign ad.
I want to talk about a vision for a new America. This new America that I'm thinking about, right? It's not unjust. It's not segregated. It doesn't have mass shootings and kids ODing on drugs and people struggling to survive and people having no sense of themselves as human beings. It's a country rooted in our humanity. We need a new vision for America. A vision where everyone is included. I was born and raised in New York City, raised by a single mother. My wife and I raise our family now in southern Westchester County. We are both educators. My wife teaches elementary school, and I'm the founding principal of a community school in the Northeast Bronx. Like all educators, we face the most damning challenges every day. We work with children and families who suffer from poverty, asthma from pollution, homelessness, lack of health care. My opponent has been in office for over 30 years. Over those 30 years, my opponent voted for an unjust war in Iraq.
He has weapons of mass destruction.
Deregulating Wall Street, school privatization, and building more prisons.
We need to put more cops on the beat, build more prisons, and support the crime bill.
While the very few at the top continue to build their wealth and their power, the majority of us continue to struggle. We need to nurture the future of America by investing in our schools. We need to put public schools back in the hands of our teachers and parents, make public college free, Medicare for all people, universal child care, criminal justice reform, and the Green New Deal. It's time to build a new America that taps into its unlimited potential, a new America that leverages the brilliance of children and people from diverse backgrounds. That's the America I want to be a part of. The America I want for my children and grandchildren. My name is Jamaal Bowman. I'm a Democrat, and I'm running to be your congressman in New York's 16th Congressional District.
All right, this guy's the real deal. Now, before I get to more on Engel, who, by the way, has been in the House since 1989, Bowman tweeted out a link to his to where you can help fund his campaign. I'm going to link to both Jamaal Bowman and the other candidate I'll get to in a second, both of their pages under the video on YouTube, so you can go and donate to them there. Let me first share his goal here. So he tweeted out, "Help us reach our $100,000 goal here. It's going to take all of us to create our vision for a new America." And shortly following that, he tweeted out, "We've already surpassed my opponent's small dollar donations in just a few hours. For my race, I'm refusing all corporate PAC money. We need a Democrat who will fight for jobs and education, not bombs and incarceration." And this is why, or how, Bowman already has surpassed the small dollar donations that Engel has received in the past. So looking at Engel's recent source of funds from his last campaign, he raised only 0.46% of his campaign money from small individual contributors. So that's money under $200. The vast majority of his money comes from large individual contributors, which oftentimes is raised at private fundraisers. 68% came from that, and another 30% came from PAC contributions. So this is what Jamaal Bowman's up against, which is why it's so important to support these Justice Democrats, because they aren't taking any of this big donor money or any of PAC money, and they aren't holding these private fundraisers with special interests. Now, Jamal's already making headlines, so let me share a few of those. This from BuzzFeed News. The group that helped bring AOC to Congress has a new candidate for 2020. Justice Democrats is announcing it will back Jamaal Bowman's primary challenge to longtime Representative Eliot Engel. This from The Hill. Engel draws primary challenger in New York. And this from NBC News. Group that backed AOC's election looks for upset against Dem in neighboring district. Justice Democrats, which helped elect AOC, is waging a primary against 30-year incumbent Eliot Engel. Now, something you may notice about these headlines, AOC is used to grab attention here. Understand, these challengers would not be getting the attention that they deserve. They would not be getting these headlines right now, as you're seeing, if it wasn't for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's big win against Joe Crowley. When that happened, that shocked the media. Because as I said earlier, it showed them that, yes, you can take down a leading Democrat in the House if you have the right grassroots support. And the Justice Democrats, their formula for this, having shown to have worked in the past, can and I think will absolutely work even more this time around, because they're going to get more media attention that these candidates did not get last time. So let me get to the next candidate now. So the Justice Democrats have also launched a primary challenger in Texas's 28th district. And this is Jessica Cisneros. She is a human rights lawyer, and she's looking to unseat Henry Cuellar.
My mom and dad came to Texas to build a better life for me and my sister. My dad picked fruit, and then later on, he was able to start his own trucking business. And at that time, my father was so proud that he put my mom's and his initials on the logo. But eventually there were trade slowdowns in Laredo and he had to close his business. My father sat us down and he reminded us, vamos a echarle ganas, tenemos que salir adelante. And that's exactly what we did. We worked hard and we kept at it. And now I'm blessed to be an abogada that fights for families that look just like mine. Our economy and our immigration systems are broken. And while the president fans the flames of hate and bigotry, his cruel anti-immigrant policies are pitting Texans against each other. These policies don't represent the values of South Texans, and the politicians who defend these policies don't represent us. Our congressman claims to be a Democrat, but he's voted with Trump nearly 70% of the time, and he's Trump's favorite Democrat. Henry Cuellar voted to defund sanctuary cities and reproductive services for women's health. He's received an A rating from the NRA, and he's accepted thousands of dollars from private prisons and the Koch brothers. Mira, here's the truth. Henry Cuellar fights to protect Trump and the big corporations. I'm fighting to end the separation of families. I'll fight to pass a $15 minimum wage, Medicare for all, and the Green New Deal, so that we can create jobs here at home. This campaign is for la gente. It's for la raza. It's for the people of South Texas. I won't take a dime of corporate PAC money, and I will fight tirelessly from Bexar to Webb County, all the way down to Hidalgo County. Mi nombre es Jessica Cisneros. Yo soy demócrata y me postulo para servir a la gente del sur de Texas, en el Distrito 28, en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos.
So that's Jessica Cisneros, another fantastic candidate backed by the Justice Democrats. Let me just go a little over Henry Cuellar and who this guy is here. So he is seen as the second most conservative Democrat in the House. Now, I don't know who the first most conservative Democrat is. I think it's likely Dan Lipinski. If you don't know Dan Lipinski, look him up. He's also seeing a challenge this year. But on top of that, much like Eliot Engel, in 2017 to 2018, only 0.35% of Henry Cuellar's campaign money came from small individual contributions. And 30% came from large individual contributions, and 66% came from PAC contributions. And the insanity doesn't end there. Cuellar also raised money for a Republican. So this reporting from the Washington Post. Left-wing campaign groups which had their greatest success last year in deep blue districts have pointed to the heavy Democratic advantage in Cuellar's seat as evidence that anyone who unseated the congressman would be elected in November. Cuellar also rankled Democrats last year by helping raise money for Representative John Carter, Republican of Texas, who narrowly defeated a strong Democratic challenger in the Austin exurbs. And if you look at the race here, So this is the race that Henry Cuellar helped fund for. The Republican won by only a few percentage points. So very likely the money that Cuellar helped raise for the Republican in that race led that Republican to victory. This guy is not a Democrat, yet the DNC has instituted rules to, or I believe it's the DCCC and the DNC likely have instituted rules to not allow outside groups to fundraise for primary challengers. So if you fundraise for a primary challenger, you are then cut off from helping any Democrats that are currently in the House in the future. So these candidates need your support in order to actually win here. Now, as I said, Cisneros is a Justice Democrat, a human rights lawyer, and I'll put a link below my video so you can donate to her campaign. But some incredible news out of her campaign. Within 48 hours of launching it, her campaign already hit the goal of $100,000. And that's with an average donation of just $23. So keep in mind, while she did hit the goal, it's always important to have more money to work with. So continue to donate to her campaign as well as Jamaal Bowman's campaign, so that you can really help these candidates defeat their or win in their primary. And Cisneros, of course, is also making headlines. So this from New York Mag. You should be paying attention to Jessica Cisneros' campaign. This from Vogue. Is Jessica Cisneros the next Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? And there's many others, because these candidates now are actually being covered by the media thanks to AOC's big win last year. So remember, these are real people. These are people that will actually fight for you. They're not backed by any special interest. They only run on grassroots support, grassroots donations, and they answer to the people because of that. So if you have more AOCs in Congress, just imagine what can get done. And eventually, replacing the leadership is, I think, an obvious goal of all of this. The more of these progressives you have in there, the more you're going to have actual, real progressive leaders in the House for the Democratic Party.